Just a minute. Can the National Assembly play into the hands of the president here? Because assuming they want to exonerate themselves and saying, well, you sought for a conference, we've given you, it's up to the National Assembly to decide what happens thereafter. Because remember, at some point, he alluded to the fact that, well, whatever is decided here will go to the National Assembly.
Yes.
Before Nigerians cried out. And then they said, well, it's up to the conference now to determine what happens to their recommendations. So what do you read in all of that?
Well, it's not as, he said, the conference can determine what happens, and then he says there is a window of opportunity for a referendum. And that window of opportunity for referendum is the one condition upon the outcome of the ongoing constitutional amendment process in the National Assembly.
Which is not clear-cut, not a given.
Well, that I believe the National Assembly has shown some, determination to see it through as far as all the stages that has passed through. I think the next stage is for them to harmonize and send it to the state houses of assembly, and then it comes back to them. And that can happen before the end of the year.
Let's look at the constitution of the delegates to this conference. Do you think it's a true representation of Nigeria?
That issue has been raised. I was listening to the newspaper review, and some youths have raised the problem about the constitution of the composition, particularly the age brackets. And they feel that it tilts more on the side of the gerontological representation of the country, that is those who are 60 and above, more than those who are 40 and above, below. And definitely, if you look at the composition, a lot of people have been on the scene since even before independence. And because maybe for purposes of experience, for them to, but some people also believe that they are part of the problem. They are the ones that cause the problem. They have been ministers, they've been governors, they've been whatever.
And they don't want to leave.
And they are still part of the system, holding on.
Isn't because we're in short supply of brains and people of a different generation that can actually proffer solutions?
I believe anybody that's a Nigerian will hold an objection to that statement. Because over 200 million of people represented all over the world and acknowledged as very intelligent, sophisticated, traveled, exposed, I think it's a problem of leadership.
And we keep making the same, I don't know, because we've seen some people there, they're octogenarians,
yes.
While some of them have been in the service since their early 20s, and loads of people, but they're still there. And one wonders why it is so, because we have 492 delegates now,
yes.
and they're to discuss, and we say this is important to us as a people.
Yes.
And the importance of this discussion, or the outcome of the national conference, will actually show a brighter future for the country. So getting this together in that particular conference, because I'm sure that the government must have put into consideration a lot of issues, looking at pedigree, looking at what people have done before, and perhaps also look at nominations or nominees from states and so many other bodies like the NBA, which you're also part of. Don't you think that they made what people would call wilder consultations before they arrived at those names?
Well, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Whatever the outcome of their consultation, you see that there hasn't been sufficiently wide consultation as depicted in the composition. For instance, the NBA raised objection as to being given just one slot. I will even say that my own association is the National Association of Law Teachers.
Oh.
We teach the law.
Were you represented here?
We're not represented.
So are you protesting?
I am protesting on the behalf of that association here now. We are not represented. We are the teachers of the law. And we are not represented there. And of course, look at civil society. On the television, they said civil society. When did civil society sit together and say, we are nominating people to represent us? So it was this one. The concentration was on political parties. You can see the composition is more of politicians, not in terms of a wide representation. And this stands against the agitation for the Sovereign National Conference, that there must be representative of ethnic nationalities.
You believe that's true?
Well, basically, you can't say that there have been a well, sifted process that has produced representation from ethnic nationality. But be that as it may, all the people there are Nigerians. Let's face it. They are Nigerians. If they care, I mean, I'm not going to look at those people who are celebrating their nomination as delegates in the newspaper. People taking adverts, have been nominated. That shows the level of the kind of representation we are having. You are celebrating that in itself. Is probably the person will go and hold a party for being a delegatee. What is important is to focus on the substance. Irrespective of how these people have come about, let's use the African proverb that says that whether the man kills the snake or the woman kills the snake, as long as the snake does not injure anybody, let's kill the snake.
Well, Prof, the question will be that substance. How many of those there can say clearly that they understand the substance, the essence of being at that conference? Because if they do, we may not be having these bickerings we're having back and forth, these teething problems, as we say.
Well, you see, when you put a lot of human beings together, initially there will be issues of ego, issues of this and all that. They'll go beyond all that. You see, you have to give them the benefit of doubt, let them at least manifest. They say that when a person is bringing something from his pocket, you wait for it to come out before you start saying it's white, it's black.
Can any one of them be recalled, assuming they're not?
I don't think there is a provision for recall in the appointment. But truly, on a more serious note, it's not the technicalities of what they want to do. What the president said is that their concern should be about Nigeria. I don't think there's anybody there that doesn't know about the problems of Nigeria. We have the problem of inept leadership. We have a problem that infrastructure. Today we are reading in the papers that Nigeria wants to go to Congo to go and be sourcing for electricity. That must be a joke or somebody's, whatever. We have problem in our educational sector. We have problem of insecurity. It's not about sharing up the resources of Nigeria. That is not the issue. It's about thinking through what are the challenges here. We have problem of not being able to conduct free and fair election. Anambra State is still there. We have problem of empowering our youths. This country is blessed with resources. When we were growing up, it was not so much a problem for you. The question is, bring yourself to school, be educated. And education was plural. It wasn't just one directional education, everybody going to the university. We had polytechnic, we had technical colleges, so every point in time, a child is engaged. And the icing on the cake for us, particularly those of us who grew up in the Southwest, what education was free. There was free, education for anybody. And to top it, university education was one that was like a tour. I remember when we were in school, people used to come from secondary school on tour to come and see university environment. I can't remember, yes, some students still come to University of Lagos to see, but what do you want to see? In those days, what you used to go and see, you used to go and watch them eat in the cafeteria where they use fork and knife. And everything was orderly. They would queue up and all that. How did all that go? Away, just within my own generation. I can't even relate that to my children. So these are we have problems that we need to solve. Not about, people going there to think we have to carve, these resources must come to me. If we don't
That's where I actually wanted to
the
comment,
problem.
because I wanted you to talk more on that when we talk about resource control, because I'm quite sure that will be one of the talking points in the conference.